encourage our clients not to shy away from news. There's a lot of brand safety levers in place to help navigate that. And particularly in an election year, I think it can be a little complicated, particularly from a world of mis and disinformation. And being associated with mis and disinformation can be really harmful for a brand. So making sure that you're being really proactive in this space and looking at what levers are there that I can pull to make sure my brands are safe. It might be a Zephyr, it could be a NewsGuard. There's a lot of tools out there. So gaining that knowledge and really leaning into those tools allow you to support journalism, but still keeping your brand safe.
And so, are there not necessarily no-go zones in the media world, but areas where maybe brands should be a bit more cautious? If, like, I don't know, there's parts of social media that look kind of scary, but what can you tell us?
There are definitely places in social media that are scary. And I think it goes back to, again, the tools and understanding the source and a lot of where people are getting their news. And I think NewsGuard's one of those tools that allows you to really evaluate sources of news, whereas Zephyr's a little more helps you consolidate into safe spaces, even in social.
Okay. Now, the next topic is another big one, the growth of sports in streaming. We've seen, particularly with the big tech companies, now spending a ton of money on streaming, and they're really competing with the traditional networks and other outlets for those rights. So, what do you see happening in streaming, and how does that affect the way the buyers not only work with the platforms, but how brands should be thinking about them?
Sure, I think it's almost like anything else in the landscape right now. It's a little more fragmented than we've been used to, so you have to think of it a little differently. I think we're seeing a lot with Apple and the growth on Apple just from having the soccer rights, Lionel Messi alone, added to their reach. I think we're seeing a lot of the sports rights packages get broken up differently, and a lot more access points and a lot more partners in there, which is good from, I think we're seeing younger consumers come to something like the NFL through Thursday Night Football on Amazon. So I think it's helping to get those, reach consumers in more diverse places. Also allows media partners to diversify some of those costs across other outlets as well.
And what about like college sports? I've seen different things like the Big Ten keeps getting bigger and bigger. It's like the Big 18 now. It's now in big media markets like L.A., Washington. So what? But it seems as if all these leagues are kind of consolidating and trying to figure out the way to monetize what's happening in college there.
Absolutely, I think college sports is really interesting from particularly the monetization aspect. You're seeing the athletes want a piece of some of those rights at this point that are playing. You're seeing a lot, particularly with name, image and likeness, where they are trying to commoditize themselves. But at the same time, I think they're seeing that name, image and likeness. The players are leaning in, and that's helping the sport as well. That also helps reach younger consumers because a lot of them are very active on social platforms, which is where you're reaching that younger consumer. So you're seeing them reach a younger audience and bring some of that in, which is also unique to to that platform. It was getting a little older, so that's helped.
Yeah, it seems like there are a lot of these, as you mentioned, the name, image, likeness is kind of changing the equation out there. And there's these stars like Caitlin Clark, the basketball player. So what do you tell brands as far as perhaps the opportunities to work with some of these, rising personalities and maybe have an impact with, younger audiences?
Absolutely. I think we're seeing it, I think a good example is Colorado State with Deion Sanders and his sons.
Oh, yeah.
You're seeing them in ads.
Actually, that's CU, University of
Yes,
Colorado.
sorry, I knew I was going to goof that up.
It's all right.
And you're seeing that with a lot more players. You're seeing some brands lean in and really work with those players to attract that younger consumer.
Right.
And it's a great entry point into a sport.
Okay. And then finally, I wanted to ask you a bit about, how the value of ad transactions are sent or currency, let's say. And what's happening there? It seems as though, during the pandemic, there was a lot of dissatisfaction with, the way certain things were done. At least, traditional networks were kind of upset. Their audiences weren't being counted enough. But how do you from an advertiser perspective, what do you think about the currency and how currencies, the status of them, and how well they're serving you as a buyer?
I think it's such an interesting time. We've had one real currency for so long in
Mm,
Nielsen, and I think seeing that competition in the space is making everyone better and stronger.
mhm,
We're seeing data be more accountable, be more robust,
mhm,
be more nuanced, particularly in like minority audiences actually getting more
mm,
counted,
yep,
which had been underrepresented in a lot of people's measurement.
right.
It's allowing us to really truly, I think, get measurement and currency closer. They're not necessarily still the same yet, but I think it's allowing us to get a little closer to that.
Hmm. And is there anything you'd like to see happen in that area, or what would make you
I want
more
to,
feel
yeah,
better about it?
I want to see the competition continue because I think having that competition just makes everyone better and smarter.
Mm,
It also speeds up timelines, I think,
hmm.
which is great. I
Okay.
think what I want to see is that growth and that improvement just keep continuing.
Okay. And finally, looking ahead, I know we covered politics and sports and that kind of thing, but is there anything else that, our viewers maybe should be aware of, something that's top of mind for you? Maybe it's something that you're excited about, or maybe it keeps you up at night, or some change you'd like to see. Like, what do you think
So much.
about the year ahead?
Yeah, so much keeps me up at night. I mean, we're getting ready for another upfront. I think the concept of the upfront is always interesting. We
Hmm.
kind of look at it more as an always on or an unfront at this point because there is
Mm,
so much increased flexibility.
right.
I love, there's a lot of change in the fragmentation in the landscape, and I think it's allowing us to work in a more flexible manner and trade in a more flexible manner, and that gets me excited
Mm,
because the rules aren't the same that they had
mm.
been historically.